my very special respects to my teachers that are here, and the best Director General of any law school south of the Sahara and north of the Limpopo, Professor Chiroma. My profound respect, sir. The head of academics, the highly intellectually mobile head of academics of Nigerian Law School, my teacher, and of course, the most popular lecturer in Nigerian Law School, Dr. Olonani. And I also can see my lecturer who just stepped in from base. With that, I want to say good afternoon. I am so excited to be here this afternoon, and possibly the youngest. Okay, I heard some people from Ghana here got called 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. I'm very happy to know that I have juniors. But I was going to introduce myself as a bouncing baby lawyer who just got called to the bar 3 months ago, but law was my 10th degree. And by the grace of God, I've started my LLM. And in another 3 months, I'll be defending my second PhD. I stand before you not merely as a Nigerian lawyer, but as one of the many young African lawyers determined to redefine what it means to practice law on the continent. Africa is at a decisive moment. Our societies are changing, economics are transforming, and technology is reshaping the very structure of justice delivery. Yet, amid this progress, the young lawyer continues to navigate a complex and often discouraging professional landscape. This paper seeks to examine the realities confronting young lawyers across Africa, highlight the challenges that impede growth, propose pragmatic solutions, and draw attention to the vast opportunities that lie ahead. To thrive as a young lawyer in Africa is to adapt, innovate, and collaborate without losing the moral compass that gives law its soul. I'll talk on the landscape and what it means to be a young lawyer in Africa today. To be a young lawyer in Africa today is to live in contrast. On one hand, there's unprecedented access to education, global legal resources, and professional associations. On the other hand, there is a struggle for relevance within systems that remain hierarchical, underfunded, and resistant to change. Our legal systems are products of colonial legacies, modified by local realities and modern democratic ideals. Every year, thousands of law graduates are called to the bar across Africa's jurisdictions. Yet, only a fraction find structured opportunities. The traditional legal market cannot absorb the growing talent pool, forcing many to either switch professions or settle for precarious practice. Nevertheless, this is also a generation with remarkable potential, digitally fluent, globally aware, and socially conscious. If properly guided and empowered, young lawyers can become catalysts of Africa's legal and institutional transformation. Then the challenges, barriers to growth and fulfillment. One of such is structural barriers. The structure of legal practice in most African countries is rigid and hierarchical. Advancements often depend on years of passive apprenticeship rather than measurable merits. Access to high-profile cases or leadership roles remain preserved of a privileged few. There is limited mentorship, and even where mentorship exists, it is rarely structured or accessible to all. Another factor is economic realities. Economic hardship remains one of the greatest threats to professional growth. In several jurisdictions, young lawyers earn stipends that barely cover transportation. Starting independent practice is nearly impossible without capital, while established firms often exploit an oversupply of junior lawyers. This economic strain undermines the morale, fosters unethical shortcuts, and discourages talent retention in our legal profession. Then technological and global gap. While the rest of the world has embraced legal technology, digital care management, e-filing, artificial intelligence, many African courts and firms still depend on manual filing systems and paper records. These create inefficiency and isolate young lawyers from global trends. Cross-border practice remains underdeveloped, and few platforms exist to facilitate regional collaboration. Socio-political and ethical hurdles. The politicization of justice, corruption, and weak institutional frameworks further complicate the legal environment. Young lawyers who aspire integrity often face moral dilemmas between survival and principle. Gender inequality also persists. Female lawyers frequently encounter subtle biases that limit progression and inclusion. The way forward. Charting a new course. The African Bar Association has a powerful platform to shape the professional growth and sustainability of young lawyers across the continent. To thrive, young lawyers must become both reformers and entrepreneurs of law. The solution requires shared responsibility among governments, bar associations, senior lawyers, and the young professionals themselves. First and foremost, the African Bar Association must look into the following. A, professional development and mentorship. Structured mentorship program. Pair young lawyers with senior practitioners and judges. You have to pair young lawyers with senior practitioners and judges across borders to promote knowledge transfer and ethics. Continental training series. Regular virtual and physical workshops on advocacy, digital law, arbitration, human rights, and business law must be encouraged. Leadership and practice management training. You have to equip lawyers with skills for running law firms, networking, and client relations. Career support and access to opportunities. Continental job and internship network. Create an outbound digital platform. Listing internship, clerkship, and job placement across Africa. Support for cross-border practice will have to simplify collaboration among young lawyers across jurisdiction through regional practice, licenses, or partnership. Then we have to start up grants or microfunding. We have to provide small grants for young lawyers establishing solo or boutique practices. Then we have to also look at advocacy and policy influence. Then we have to look at lobby for fair remuneration. We have to advocate for minimum wage standards and human work conditions for entry-level lawyers. We have to engage in policy engagements. We have to influence national bar associations and governments to adopt young-friendly legal policies and inclusive appointment practices. We have to protect against exploitation by establishing a whistleblowing or complaint mechanism for young lawyers facing abuse or non-payment. Then innovation and digital transformation, legal tech incubation hubs. We have to support young lawyers in developing and deploying tech-based legal solutions. Training on AI data and cyber laws, we have to equip them for emerging legal fields. Continental Knowledge Library, a shared online repository of precedents, case laws, and practice guides should be made available. Networking and international exposure, commercial young bar forum, continental young bar forums. We have to create a permanent platform for young lawyers, voices within ABBA. Then we have to have exchange programs, facilitate exchange of fellowship between African countries and global legal institutions. Then annual Young Lawyers Summit, a flagship event for networking, showcasing talent, and discussing continental reforms should be encouraged by ABBA. Generally, reintegrating legal education and mentorship, legal education must evolve beyond theory. Law faculties and bar institutes should emphasize experiential learning, legal clinics, moot courts, and community-based lawyering. National and continental mentorship programs should be institutionalized, pairing experienced lawyers with young professionals across jurisdictions. Mentorship should be deliberate, inclusive, and reciprocal, enabling a transfer not only of skill, but of values. Then institutionalization or institutionalizing technology and innovation. The time has come to integrate innovation, artificial intelligence, and scientific legal tools into Africa's legal education from the foundation level. Technology should not be an optional skill. It must be a core part of the curriculum. Law faculties and law schools should teach legal technology, digital research tools, data analysis, and AI-assisted reasoning from the university stage to professional bar training level. This will guarantee that young lawyers graduate with a level of mastery that aligns with the demand of a modern legal practice. Institutionalizing technology and innovation in legal education is essential to ensure that Africa does not lag behind in the global transformation of law and justice. And embracing innovations and technology, young lawyers must embrace digital reform, and this means liberation. Technology must, as a matter of urgent, utmost necessity, be seriously encouraged. Then we must also talk about entrepreneurship and diversification. We must talk about building integrity and Pan-African networks. I will not elucidate because of time. The opportunities as a continent on the rise. Despite all these hurdles, Africa presents a vast horizon of opportunity. The African continental trade area opens a multi-trillion-dollar market that demands robust legal expertise in trade, dispute resolution, and investment protection. The tech and setup ecosystem is creating new demand for counsel in venture capital, IP law, and digital compliance. Governance and human rights reforms. Efforts require young lawyers who are bold, ethical, and reform-minded to advance constitutionalism and the rule of law. Environment and energy law is gaining prominence, driven by climate change, green finance, and regulation of extractive industries. Regional and international practice is expanding through courts like ECOWAS and the East African Court of Justice and the African Court of Human and People's Rights, offering a new avenue for advocacy and continental relevance. In short, where ecosystems are broken, opportunities abound, and those willing for those willing to innovate. I call on all young lawyers here today that there's something purposeful about young persons. There's something dynamic about young persons. There's something special and unique about young persons. Our Lord Jesus Christ lived on earth for 33 years as a young man. Today we can see his followership. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was called into prophethood at the age of 40. Today we can see his followership. The innovator of aeroplane did that at the age of 25. Today, Bob Marley lived 31 years. We are singing him. So there's something special about that age bracket. We must not waste it. We are not just young lawyers. Majority here, 80% are young persons. So we must make sure that we utilize our youths and then bring back the long lost reputation of our very prestigious profession. Lawyers are supposed to be change agents in any society. But today, no one is speaking for the have-nots. No one is speaking for the oppressed. Lawyers are supposed to help in ameliorating and palliating satanic situations across Africa. But today, the African bar should take the challenge of making sure that lawyers bring back the long-lost reputation of our various African nations. We know what lawyers did in the past. We know how they stood, even in Nigeria, when the NBA sneezes, government catches cold. But is the story the same over the last 1.5 decades? I would say the answer is no. So I challenge us today to become change agents, and because my former teacher and the pastor is here, he knows what songs can do in revolutionizing the world and Africa as a whole. Martin Luther King said in 1963, precisely July 17th, he said, "I have a dream that one day in the highs of Georgia, the sons and daughters of slave owners will sit with sons and daughters of slaves to build a new America." He said again in 1962 that I have a dream that one day my 4 children in the United States will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Today, we are not here as individual nations, we are here as a continent, and our resolution should be, we want Africa to take a rightful place in the Committee of Nations. In the United Nations, we want to take our place. In the Commonwealth, we want to take our place. And no one else can do it better than those that are classified and called learned people. So today, we need to take responsibility. So I want to end by singing a song that Martin Luther King sang in 1963. And after singing that song on the Great March to Washington, D.C., after singing that song, America transformed and the blacks in America were liberated. It was a sin before for a white man, a black man to enter a bus or an environment for the whites. But today, as a result of that song, as a result of that dream, a black man was in White House. For those who believe in the new Africa that is to come, for those who believe in the new individual countries in Africa to come, for those who believe that after this APA conference of 2025, I'm going to be a change agent in my local government, I'm going to be a change agent in my state, I'm going to be a change agent in my country, I'm going to be a change agent in Africa. You can join me in singing this song. Don't mind my voice. I'm going to take it once, I will take it together, and I will conclude. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. Now, those who believe in that new Africa that is to come, and the new Nigeria, new Ghana, new Cote d'Ivoire, and all the African countries here can join me. We'll sing it together. Now, after the count of 2. 1, 2. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. The story. Thank you very much. Thank you. The story of the African lawyer is still being written. To thrive in Africa is to understand the success will not come from imitation of Western models, but from courageous adaptation of our own realities. We must build a profession that is inclusive, tech-driven, ethically grounded, and regionally connected. As young lawyers, we are not merely heirs to the legal order. We are architects of its rebirth. The law is our instrument to heal nations, to protect rights, and inspire justice. Let us remember, Africa does not lack laws. It lacks lawyers who dare to imagine them. A luta continua, Victoria Asante.
Thank you, our last speaker, Senator Dino Danemelaye, for your thought-provoking paper, which ended with the song from the great Martin Luther King. An aside,